First one is from Automotive Aftermarket Division. Upon observing the country-specific product catalogue, which was created, and it had a duplication of the database, so one product could be packaged and marketed as a separate product. She took 5 months basically to streamline the product portfolio across ASEAN and to achieve better economies of scale. And the impact was so significant that it actually resulted in a 20% improvement on gross margin and a 37% sales growth year on year. 37%. Oh, that was very good. Next one is Augustine. He's part of our corporate IT team, and he created a unified inbox that consolidates all requests requiring certainly my approval and other managers' approval. So adding to that, Augustine and his team are now looking at widening the scope of this, so you can actually implement this approval from my handy, which saves me having to log on then to the laptop. And he streamlined this approval and process and made it available for 3,000 managers. 3,000 managers on the worldwide workforce, which reduced our turnover time significantly. So that's another great everyday leader. Another one is sat here with us, Olivier, who works in my office and works for me directly. Olivier, we make use definitely of her consulting background when she left SMU and her experience across ASEAN. And Olivier assists me by working directly with the managing directors across ASEAN to analyse the business performance, to streamline those business goals, and to design growth plans, because in each of the different regions we have our growth plans. And she's working on something very special at the moment, which is an optimal organisation set up for ASEAN. Have we got the right organisation? I don't know, but Olivia is going to tell us what we did. So we look forward to the results from there. One of the things where I started from was the Gen Ys, and one of the key things that we noted with Gen Ys is basically CSR, corporate social responsibility. They need to know that the company that they're working for has some ingrained corporate social responsibility. Just for your information, Bosch is still a privately owned company. There's still one or two in the world who is. So you can't buy stocks and shares of Bosch on the stock market. What we set up then was this organisation called Primavera, and it was started basically by Bosch people in 1990. 10 Bosch associates teamed up with the aim to offer help to some of the children living in the slums of developed countries. They started this charity called Primavera. They also spend great amounts of their free time to implement and organise and manage projects, sometimes working directly on sites. And since its conception, Primavera has engaged in or raised 7 million euros and has now more than 800 members engaging in 37 projects in 12 countries. Within Southeast Asia, we have Cambodia, Malaysia and Philippines, which are covered, and we have projects that I'll talk to you about in Thailand and Indonesia that are starting up. This one is a School for Life project, which is in Chiang Mai. And the next one is, back there, this one. The one at the top there, you can't see it when I point up there, is Hand to Hand Foundation in Thailand. The Chiang Mai one looks after the homeless kids and cares for them for the children that come from difficult situations such as a tsunami or children who are subjected to family abuse. The Hand to Hand Foundation this one in Thailand that's being set up. And what it does is it visits prisons. There is a lot of Cambodians that come over the border. Thank you. Come over the border and without paperwork, they get put straight in prison, and there's nobody there to care for them. This foundation actually goes into the prisons and looks after them, particularly the children. That's where it's focused on. But not just that, also in the slums areas as well, based in Pattaya. The next one is also dear to my heart, as I was there at the time and saw the disaster that struck in the Typhoon Haiyan of the Philippines. Left a trail of destruction there with schools that were totally demolished and people really struggling to keep alive. And what we've managed to do through Primavera is build up 5 schools and also libraries as well for them to get those people back on the feet and the kids educated. So, I think in summary, where did I start? I started by proposing to you that we live in a VUCA world. And that VUCA world then has its effect on management and leadership. It brings with it different generations and working styles. We went through different generations, baby boomer, Gen X, Gen Y, and the new Gen Zs, the digital guys. We then said about the working styles, and then covered then the leadership, 3 different leadership, and how we can move an organisation to transformational leadership to be the high-performing team that we need in industry. But I also mentioned about everyday leadership and some of those success stories that we have that pertain to Bosch. It's important to bring about positive change, and it's important to actually to celebrate that change as well in the workplace. But I think the best thing I want to leave you with is, and I am an automotive guy, is a quote from Henry Ford, who said, "There is no man living who isn't capable of doing more than the things he can do." And I think that applies to every single one of us. And I think if you take that as your motto through your learning, your working life, you won't go far wrong. Many thanks for your time. Any questions? Okay.
I want to come back about the leadership style you talked about, and mainly the laissez-faire. Like, isn't it contradictory with the definition of leadership, which is inspire, grow, creativity, and let it be like?
Absolutely right. And you would think that, you know, in the industry there wouldn't be anybody who operates that. But you find this happening. These people are moved from management to leadership, don't know how to do it, so they opt out. And the way that they opt out is let it be. They probably don't know that that's what they're doing, but that's how it finds itself within the industry. And what we need to do is to actually point that out to them and move them further on with it. So it's normally dysfunctional.
I really like your examples about transformational leadership with the 2 examples of AirAsia and the other one. For your company, may I know, is there any examples of how you have put through your personal motto or the company one about invented for life?
So you're looking for
examples of how your company has transformational leadership and what motto do they use?
The motto is invented for life. So I've got examples of products that have been designed for invented for life, and those are mainly the IoTs, Internet of Things, where we're working on some Yeah. The fridges and the car. So the connection between the car and your house is very key. People want to be able to control everything from that phone, have it in the car, be able to interface it then back to the home. And there's a lot of difficulty with that because you have rules and regulations. Autonomous driving, they say, will occur in Singapore. I think the minister said before 2020 anyway. But how do you get over that? Because there's rules and regulations. So we had a guy who basically said, okay, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to push forward with it. I'm going to develop those projects and products. And he is doing that. Out of the realm, basically, of the construct of the box. So he's got a vision. He knows what he wants to do, and he's taken his team in that direction. As one example. But it's a good one that we perhaps should actually make some notes of when it happens. Thank you.
I actually have two questions for you. So the first question is...
You only get one prize now.
ASEAN is made of 10 different member countries, each unique its own way. So how do you manage and embrace diversity? And the second question is, with the establishment of the AEC coming up by the end of this year, how do you foresee that this will change the dynamics within the region?
Wow, yeah. So your question is then about the 10 different countries, how do we handle leadership?
Yeah, like leadership diversity.
Diversity. Well, sorry, Jane is from our HR department. So I'm sure Jane can tell you about diversity, but I know where you're coming from in terms of leadership diversity. What we have to do is we don't have a policy of one fits all. So it really is specific then for that country that we have to, at times, and I won't say develop products, but I will say applicate products so that they apply then basically for Malaysia rather than Myanmar. But in terms of the leadership of the people, we have local GMs in the countries, but they're not always Myanmese or Thai and what have you. But we try to have that local management, and then they are responsible then for basically modifying or making sure that what we're doing there is appropriate then to the culture and the diversity of the people. If you go one fits all, no, it cannot be, both in product and leadership. AEC. AEC is, I get asked that so many times. Not an easy one. I think it's a question of when. That's all. It definitely will come. But I think there are issues around free travel of people at the moment, which are causing some of the stumbling blocks, and also trade. Important for us is when we put down a manufacturing plant in Indonesia, we want to be able to sell those components out of Indonesia to other ASEAN countries, free trade. At the moment, there's tariff barriers on each port that we come into, and that has to then hopefully disappear with the AEC. I won't say the end of this year, but when the AEC really comes into force, that will then disappear, which will make us then competitive from wherever we can produce. And that's important for us because you can't put a manufacturing plant down in Indonesia just for the Indonesian automotive market. It's not big enough. We need the 4.5 million vehicles that are produced here to be able to get that economy of scale. So that's important. So that will definitely help us. And then the other one is the free travel of people. People walking without a visa.
Thank you for your insights on management and leadership. Could you share with us, in your opinion, which is the most important skill set that drives a leader in a VUCA role?
I think this one drives a lot. if you don't have this skill, then you're just missing. And you're really going back to here. So you're in task mode, you're in delegation mode. But this enables you to have a lot of these if you really tune into it. And as shown is key within the leaders that we actually have. It's where we've just started a coaching, basically a session with the leaders. And one of those things that we're coaching is definitely, around empathy. What are the skills for that? To be a good listener, to show your emotions, to show some personal details about yourself. And normally a Bosch person will get up and he'll tell you, how many years he's been in the company, which product division he works for, and what was his sales increase. And those are going out the door. You need to tell them, first you can start well married, I've got 3 children. And those type of personal details, which allow you then to engage with the team.